It's time to brag, be rich and generous. Brag Radio is hosted by best-selling real estate investing author Larry Goins and co-host Kandas. For the next hour, they'll show you proven and effective ways you can be successful in real estate. From the WBT studios, the flagship station of the Brag Radio Network, here are your hosts, the rock stars of real estate, Larry and Kandas.
Hello, hello, hello. What's happening? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent,
Chad, you good?
Fantastic.
Not
Absolutely.
sleep deprived today?
No, I am wide awake in America.
I'm wide awake in America.
That's awesome. That is awesome. That is awesome. Good. So, Brag Radio, we're all about being rich and generous. We teach you how to invest in real estate.
It's what we know.
And then how to go out and be generous and help others. What are some things we're doing right now on the generous side, Kandas? Because we talk about real estate all the time, and we got some stuff that's really, really going to help you get started in real estate today on today's show. And be sure and follow us, facebook.com/Larry H. Goins.
Your Facebook.
Yeah, our handle, as you call it.
I do follow
Facebook
that.
handle. You got them ears on good, buddy. Come on. So, what are some things
every time you talk about it. You did that last week, too.
I know. So, what are some things we're doing right now to be generous?
Right now, one of my big things that you were picking on me a couple weeks ago about mentioning is that we have a blood drive coming up in June. It's June 26th.
Yeah, I said, let's go ahead and tell them about the Christmas party, right?
Well, here's the thing. Like, it's May now, so I don't feel like it's too soon to be talking about it. I didn't feel then like it was too soon to be talking about it, and I don't feel now like it's too soon to be talking about it. Because I really want to make an impact with the blood drive that's going to be at the office. Now, if you guys are close to our area, we would love for you to give us a call and let us know if you'd be able to stop by. Now, if you go by the office on the 26th, we will have the Bloodmobile from American Red Cross out there. I believe that Noah and Michaela and Morgan are all going to be there and will be helping us with kind of moving people from area to area to give blood, to get their snacks, to wait to give blood, that type of thing. So I'm glad that we're going to have them involved. So that's one thing that I'm working on right now. Another thing is some mission trips. We have, in one of the masterminds that we're in, there's a guy that's putting together a mission trip to Mexico. We have a student that's putting together a mission trip to Puerto Rico. So I'm working on those different things with them, trying to coordinate and see if it's anything that we can work into the calendar that we already have for this year with events to go to for us and our families.
That's exactly right. That's really, really good, Kandas.
I know.
Thank you for doing all that. I know it's a chore. I know it's a lot, but it's really for good causes.
Well, when we're doing it, when we're in the middle of it, it's all worth it. It is some prep work, and I mean, you got to rearrange some stuff and everything like that. But ultimately, when we're there and we're actually in the midst of everything happening, it's awesome.
That's so true. That is so true. So on this show, we try to keep it light. We try to keep it kind of an overview on stuff because it's so hard to get into the nitty-gritty details about stuff.
If you listen to us more than just these last, 3.5 minutes, you know that this show is very light.
That's so true.
It is a real estate show, and we do get into real estate most of the time.
That's true.
At some point.
And in my opinion, we have a really, really, really good topic that we've really prepared for. And talking about because I've actually had this question a lot about how do I pick a realtor? How do I know if I got the right realtor, right? And there's there's good realtors, just like in any business, right? Just like in any industry, in any business, there's good, bad, and there's ugly.
That's right.
So, and I don't mean literally ugly, okay? If you're an agent,
he could.
He
could.
Well, that's like Garrett at our office. He's 24. He's a CPA. He's single, girls. So
he's
like
single.
He's
on the prowl too.
Well, he said the other day he made an offer on this house, and he said, "I think I'm going to drive down there and look at this house." I said, "Yeah. Well, why do you feel like you need to go?" He said, "Well, the realtor is really cute."
Yeah, I asked him I said, before you drive all the way out to that house, is her hand in the picture? Can you see a ring? Are you wasting your time and my mileage money going out to look at it?
I know, right?
Yeah, he's funny.
That's funny. But yeah, I thought we would talk about on this show about ways to know, and questions to ask to make sure that you find a good agent. Now, before we get into this, I do want to share a little bit about...
You going to preface it?
Well, not
Or are you going to preface it?
I'm going to preface it, I guess. Anyway, what I do want to say is, I got something to say about that.
Of course you
do.
do.
What I do want to mention is, you're not going to get all your deals through agents, okay?
No, definitely not.
I mean, right now, it's a seller's market, right? It's a seller's market.
At the moment.
So, and I mean, listen, we buy HUD houses, and we do buy HUD houses. We also buy houses off the MLS, but we also buy houses from bird dogs, from bandit signs, from Craigslist ads, from direct mail, from pay-per-click advertising, from Facebook ads, and from apprentices.
Now,
right?
guys, keep in mind too, though, like we do have a lot of different marketing tactics, but we have scaled. We're at the level to need deals from multiple sources like this because we got a lot of mouths to feed. So if you guys are just getting started, though, focus on one tactic and get really good at it, and then add them as you need to add them to be able to scale, to have diversity and things of that nature. Don't think that you've got to go out and do all these different things at one time.
That's so true.
I know.
That is true. That
I
is
listen.
true. You've got to
listen.
listen. Start from where you are right now. I mean, last week we actually talked about what can you do based on time, no time, money, no money, credit, no credit. What's the best way to get started, and what can you do?
Yeah, you guys go back and listen to that show. It's on bragradio.com.
There you go. So, the first thing, and I started to call this 5 key questions to ask an agent before making an offer, right?
Yes, but the time prohibits us from actually putting a number on anything because of the rabbit holes you decide to go down.
Well, not only that, I'm not really concerned about only getting 5. What I'm really or not getting to 5, what I am concerned about is there's way more than 5.
Oh, I know
right?
there's 5.
Yeah.
But it says best.
Yeah, okay. So the best. And I don't even want to call this, before making an offer, because really you need to ask questions about the property.
Right.
So what I want to call this is about key questions to ask an agent before working with them.
Okay.
Right?
That works.
So I think the very first question you need to ask an agent is, how long have you been in the business? Right?
Okay.
If they say, I just got my license last week, next. No, I'm just kidding. You don't even really need to say that. And here's the reason why. Okay. When you have a person that just got in the business, they're brand new, they're green, the great thing about it is you can groom them to work with you and get them to do what you want them to do. And I don't mean that in a bad way, okay?
No, but
I don't mean that like you're going to waste their time, because you're not. They're on commission only, right?
That's right. But you don't have to overcome any of, and I use this word a lot, the jaded kind of mentality of realtors that don't like working with investors.
And there's a lot of them out there.
It's a real thing.
And it's justified, because there's a lot of late night infomercial watchers and seminar junkies that will waste an agent's time. That's why we teach our investors, listen, to even tell the agents, it's in our scripts. Look, the last thing in the world I want to do is waste your time, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's in our scripts, because the agent, a lot of them are jaded already, from the seminars coming through town.
That's right.
But you want to work with agents that you can work with, and you got to build that rapport with them, right? You got to build that rapport, and listen, a lot of people think if they're brand new, no, you don't want to deal with them. If they're brand new, they don't know what they're doing. But I think just the opposite, actually. Right? Mm-hmm. I think just the opposite, because then they don't have any previous experience. You can train them and work with them and get them up to speed and have them working with you. I mean, we even have agents in our office that work exclusively for us, right?
Right, we do.
We're their biggest client.
That's
we're their
right.
only client.
That's right.
We're their only client, right? And when we come back from the break, I've got several more that I want to share with you in the next segment. But give Kandas a call and get a free copy of my latest book, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading, and HUD Homes half off. Right, Kandas?
I was getting ready to say, you implied that it was just one book, but it is 2. The Real Estate Day Trading book that goes into how to buy and sell houses same day using the internet, and HUD Homes half off, which goes through our process with buying HUD houses. You can give me a call, 877-LARRY-GO, or text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063 to get the digital kit sent out to your email. Or, like I said, 877-LARRY-GO to give me a call to schedule an office tour to pick up the physical kit. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Bragg Radio. This is Kandas, investing in real estate to be rich and generous. Hey, you guys that are calling me on 877-LARRY-GO, thank you very much for calling. And I will get back to you, but I do not take calls during the breaks. I can't. Sometimes you guys get long-winded, and you know who you are that do that. And I got to be sure to be able to come back on air. So I'll give you a call back, or I'll have Zenobia help me out with giving the calls back. But definitely call into 877-LARRY-GO if you haven't already and request the investor kit. So we were talking about, or this show, we've been talking about the best questions for realtors. Now, Larry, you said in the first segment that it's really good. You know, new investors aren't a bad thing because they're kind of not. New realtors aren't a bad thing because they're not jaded. They're willing to kind of work and look at any property. They're pretty hungry.
Right. They're hungry and they want to work. They're excited. They're enthusiastic. You know, that's the cool thing about it's just like real estate investing. And I got to share this. This is so important. And it works the same with agents too. Okay. So I tell people, hey, when you first get started in real estate, what do you have a lot of?
Energy.
Enthusiasm. Right?
Okay, same thing.
No, it's not. Enthusiasm.
You looked like you were having a seizure with your thing. I didn't know what was happening over there.
So when you first get into real estate investing, you have a lot of enthusiasm, right? But what's missing, right? What's missing?
The knowledge.
Right? But after about 90 days of going through courses and reading books and getting coaching and mentoring, now what do you have a lot of?
The knowledge.
But what's gone?
All your enthusiasm.
That's right.
It's very boring to have to learn.
Well, it is. And that's why
kids. That's what they say about school all the time.
There you go. But listen, that's the reason that we, like in our mentoring programs, we have systems and processes and procedures in place to keep people motivated and enthusiastic and excited, where they're networking with each other, they're giving each other high fives, or they're encouraging each other on our Facebook groups.
That'd be a good topic to talk about. Best ways to stay motivated.
Yeah, that would. Maybe we'll do that. If I'm not mistaken, we wrote that down when we were talking about show ideas.
Oh, yeah. Motivated, focused, and accomplishing.
You're welcome.
Look at that.
So anyway, on this episode, we're talking about questions you need to ask a realtor. The first question we talked about was, how long have you been in business? And I like working with new agents, right? But agents are just like investors. After a while, they can lose the enthusiasm, okay? You want somebody that's passionate about real estate. Another question you want to ask is, do you work with investors, right? Do you work with investors? If they say no, the very next question out of your mouth should say, would you like to, right? Would you like to, right?
Yeah, so, don't ask why not and give them a chance to complain and get into a bad mood. At all. Don't do that.
Right. So you're exactly right. And a lot of realtors, they don't even want to work with investors just because of dealing with investors that are wasting their time. In fact, before you even say that, you might want to say, now the last thing in the world I want to do is waste your time. You know, and when you're working with me, you're going to find out that I do what I say I'm going to do, and I'll close deals.
And you got to mean it.
That's right. You've got to mean it. So make sure you get the education and information and knowledge so you can actually implement, right? Because a lot of people, they get a lot of education, but they have no application. Our goal is to help you apply exactly what it is that you want to do, right?
It's the only way it's going to help both of us.
That's exactly right. So, how long have you been in business is a great one. Do you work with investors? Here's another one. Do you invest yourself?
Ooh, that's interesting.
Do you like that?
Now, why would you ask that one?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. Is the first reason, I'm making it up as I go. I'm just kidding. But there's a couple reasons that you want to ask that question.
I guarantee that you're flying off the cuff with the answers to some of these, just because that's how you operate. But you talk to a bunch of realtors, so it's not like you need to have anything written down to be able to answer questions like this.
I don't need to have it written down. But here's the thing. The reason you want to know if an investor invests, right? Number one is, do they understand investors?
That's a good point, yeah.
Do they understand investors? Okay, that's the number one reason you want to ask them. Do you invest? Do they understand investors, right? And if they don't invest, they don't understand offering 50% of list price on a property.
Yeah, they think it's crazy.
Yeah, because most of your agents that are dealing in high-priced properties, The properties where a person's living in a home, they just want to sell their home, and then somebody's buying the home to move into it. They're used to getting a 98% of list offer or 102% of list offer, right? I mean, we're used to making offers at 50, 40, even 30% of list price. And they just don't get it, right? They don't get it. They're used to dealing with the banks and dealing with inspections and appraisals. See, we don't deal with any of that.
That's right.
Right? Now, the second reason you want to ask them if they invest, right? And it's just the opposite of if they understand investing and understand making a low offer. The second reason you want to ask them if they invest is if they do, then are they going to be your competition?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be your competition?
Are they looking for the same things that you're looking for and
right.
working the same model? That makes sense.
In other words, I've seen this happen before where, I'll call an agent about a property or have an agent working on a property for me, and they decide, well, hey, maybe I could buy this, or maybe they have another client willing to pay them more money for this property, right? Willing to pay them more money for this property. Another good question to ask this agent if they invest is say, what kind of investing do you do? Do you do fix and flip? Are you a landlord, right? Are you getting it under contract and finding another buyer? Exactly what type of investing are you doing? Because if they're doing fix and flip, right? That's going to be a higher priced property, right?
That's right.
$200,000, $300,000, $400,000 property.
Yeah, typically.
But if I'm a landlord or if I'm wholesaling properties, I'm buying properties $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, right?
That's our model.
Yeah. Now, sometimes it's a little more. I mean, we have one right now. We just sold for $80,000. I think we picked it up in the 60s and wholesaled it, right? And we did one a couple months ago where we wholesaled it for like $165,000 or something and picked it up for like $140,000. But for the most part, our whole model is we're going to pick it up for $30,000, sell it for $45,000. Pick it up for $40,000, sell it for $50,000.
Trying to stay under the $50,000.
Yeah, because you're dealing with a lot of cash buyers.
Right.
Right. You're dealing with a lot of cash buyers.
And as a wholesaler, you really would like to get out of it as quick as possible, and having to wait for financing just increases your hold time. That's
right. That is right. Another good question that you want to ask an agent is, how many deals are you closing a month? Right? How many deals are you closing? Not necessarily their own investment deals, but, how many transactions are they closing on a monthly basis, right? You want to, and listen, if they say 10, don't say, oh my gosh, they're too busy for me. If they say 20, oh my gosh, you can't handle working with me. Don't think that. I want you to think just the opposite. This is very, very important, guys. Think just the opposite, because I've always said, if you want to find an agent that'll get you results, you find somebody that's busy. If you call up an agent and you get an agent on the phone and they're like, nah, hello? Well, how you doing? If they're talking slow, if they act like they don't have a care in the world, if they act like they're sitting on the beach with a drink in their hand with an umbrella in it, and they got all the time in the world, that's not your agent. You want an agent that's very fast. Yeah, how can I help you? What's going on? Okay, look. All right, what? Okay, yeah, you want to make an offer? All right, good. Those are the people that can get stuff done, right? They probably have a team working with them, right? They probably have a closing agent. They probably have an admin assistant. They might even have other people on a whole team, right? In fact, that's the next question: is are you solo or are you a part of a team, right? But you want to ask that question and see, do they have some support behind them? But find somebody that actually has a lot going on. If they talk fast, don't worry, they get a lot done. Okay, does that make sense?
It does.
Awesome.
It might be a little off-putting for people in our region. Yeah. Some
people, but that's okay. That's okay. So there's a lot more of these. We're going to go over some more in a few minutes, but call Kandas and get a copy of my books, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading and HUD Homes Half Off, right?
That's right. There's some other links in there, too, in the Investor's Kit. So when you guys call 877-LARRY-GO to request the Investor's Kit, like Larry said, you'll get copies of those books. But there's also some links to some of our deeper training material and education as well. You could also text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063 and get that same digital Investor's Kit sent out to your email. Welcome back to Bragg Radio. This is Kandas.
And Larry.
Investing in real estate to be rich and generous.
That's what we're all about. We want to teach you how to invest in real estate and then go out there and be generous and help others. We talked in the first segment about some of the things we're doing to help others. We have a blood drive going on. We got some other stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
You guys can go back to braggradio.com and listen to the whole show.
Awesome. And previous episodes.
That's right. Every episode we've done. We're on number one. What are we on? 11 now. Episode 111.
111.
Yeah.
Can you
Today's
believe that?
5th, so.
It's been a couple of years on the air.
So there's a lot of shows for you to go back and listen to. 111 of them.
And they haven't kicked us off yet. Actually,
Not yet.
At Bragg Radio, you can also, we post the transcription. We post the video.
That's
so
right.
we record each one of them when I remember to bring the camera on the GoPro, right?
Right.
As well as we have the show notes and resources. So if we give out links or resources or whatever like that, you'll have those as well. And be sure and follow us on social media, facebook.com/Larry H. Goins. And be sure and follow us there. And we do repost all of the shows every single week and as well. Right, Kandas?
That's right. Every single week they get posted up there. And you guys are always able to email me at info@braggradio.com with any questions or comments or anything like that about the show. Or if you don't understand some of the terminology that we go through. Like Larry said, was it at the beginning of this week or one of the past? It's been recently that on the show we can only get into so much detail. But we go into a lot more detail in our trainings. We go into a lot more detail at our 3-day events. And so this is kind of just an introduction to us, and then we can help you on a deeper level once we know a little bit more about what's going on with you personally.
That's so true. That's so true. So we're talking on this show about questions you should ask an agent before you work with them, right?
That's right.
Now, and in the first couple segments, we did talk about, how long have you been in business? It's not a bad thing if they're brand new, right? Because that way you can train them right? So, and do you work with investors? If you work with investors, then they already understand. That's
right.
the positive. The negative might be if you also invest yourself, then they might be your competition.
They could be.
Depending on what type of deals that they look for.
That's
right?
why you got to ask the question.
That's exactly right. And, how many deals do you close a month? We talked about in the last segment about that is if they're closing a lot of deals and they're very busy, don't look at that as a negative. Right? That's a positive thing because they're busy and they can get things done.
That's a doer, yeah.
Yeah, that's a doer. That's, I always say, if you want to get something done, find somebody that's busy. They'll get it done for you, right? Mm-hmm. They always know how to fit something else in and get her done, right? Get her done. So another good question that you can ask is do you work with buyers or sellers? Now, I've actually called up listing agents before, okay? I've called up listing agents before, and the listing agent, I've called them about a property, and the listing agent will say, oh, I'm sorry, I only work with sellers. I don't work with buyers, right? So, and it's kind of funny that they would do that, especially given the fact that I'm calling the listing agent. Now, the way the real estate industry works with realtors is they have to get paid a commission, right? Now, the seller typically pays the commission, right? The seller pays the commission. Excuse me. Seller pays a commission, and, let's say it's 6%, which is kind of
standard,
kind of common,
mm-hmm,
right?
Mm-hmm.
So 6% commission, 3% will go to the listing agent, and 3% will go to the selling agent or buyer's agent, right? So if the listing agent writes the contract to sell the property and they already had it listed, they get all 6% or twice as much money, right?
Right.
So it's always confused me when an agent says, I only work with sellers, right? I don't work with buyers. So I kind of scratch my head and go, now let me see if I understand this correctly. Let's see. Now you're the listing agent, right? Yeah, I'm the listing agent. So what you're telling me is instead of writing up an offer and presenting it to your seller, You want me to go find another agent, which I don't have at the time, and you want me to have them contact you and ask you all the questions, and then you tell them, and then they tell me, and then they write up an offer and send it to you so you can send it to your seller. So if we put a deal together, you can give them half the money. Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm understanding?
And that is the exact process that would have to happen.
That's true. But you've got the listing agent on the phone. Why not just tell me about the property and let's write it up, right?
And then you get all 6%.
There you go. Right? So.
But you have had people tell you, yes, that's what I'm telling you to do.
Yeah. Now here's your next line, okay, guys? When this happens,
they say that,
I want you to do this. This is going to blow them away, all right? So when they say, yeah, you're right, that is correct. I don't work with sellers. You're going to have to go find an agent.
With buyers, you got to go find an agent.
You got to go find a buyer's agent. So here's the very next thing you should say. Oh, okay. Who's the best agent in your office? Right? And then just shut up. Because they can't say it's them. They already told you they don't work with you.
The silence is powerful in that situation. It is so funny to hear how they come back with that.
That's true.
Come back at that.
Well, now the best agent is me. Well, apparently not. You're turning down business. Right?
Come on now. You know it's not you.
Who is it? Come on.
Come on.
You got a name. I know you do.
You know it's not you.
Right?
Can't tell me that now.
So what I want to do is... in this, is this the last segment or the third segment? What is this?
This is
the third segment. So what I want to do is go over some more of these questions as well that you want to ask an agent, okay? And the next question you want to ask is, what type of properties do you typically work with, okay? What type of properties do you typically work with, right? Now, if an agent says, now you may have the listing agent on the phone, or you may have somebody else on the phone, right? That maybe they've sent you a property, which, by the way, a couple things I want to say. If an agent ever sends you a listing and it's not their listing, right, you need to go through that agent. Now, you agents are going to love me for this, okay? Agents love me anyway.
They do. We work with some really good ones.
But if you talk to an agent and you say, hey, put me on your email notification list to get all properties, X price to X price, X square footage, blah, blah, blah. When they send you a listing, don't pick up the phone and call the listing agent. Call the person, or at least put the offer through. Now, you could call the listing agent and get the details, but in that phone call, I want you to say, hey, I just want to let you know, I've got a buyer's agent. They're the ones that sent me this deal, and out of respect to them, I'm going to have them submit the offer. Right? And number one, that agent will respect you, right? That agent will respect you.
Well, it's really just a professional courtesy. I mean, you don't want to cut somebody out that brought you the information.
Dance with the one that brought you.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
That's an easy way to say it.
Dance with the one that brought you, right? So, you like that, huh?
I do like it.
So yeah, find out what kind of properties they deal with. If they're dealing with very, very expensive properties, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, they may not be the best agent to actually work with you on these low price properties, if that's what you're buying. Now, if you're buying luxury homes to fix and flip, or you're buying above medium price homes to fix and flip, right, then that's okay. That's okay. But you want to work with an agent that works in a model, right, that you are in.
Right, that you're in. Exactly.
That's so true. That's so true.
They're going to know the area a lot more.
Right.
And be able to give you demographic data, statistics, things like that for the area.
Exactly. And there's a lot of places you can get the demographics and statistics as well. You
could get them there, yeah. I mean, from other sources. But when you're on the phone with the realtor, you might as well go ahead and ask.
Right. Now, when we come back, I've got a couple of more specific questions that I want you to know to be able to ask an agent. But in the meantime, call Kandas and get a free copy of my book, or come by the office if you're close. And it's a free copy of the book. I mean, you could go to the bookstores and grab it. Yeah, both books. Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading and HUD Homes Half Off. You can buy in the bookstores, but call and you'll get one for free.
877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO, or text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063. Like Larry said, both copies of the books, and then we've also got some training links and things like that included in the investor's kit that can be sent out to your email. The digital version can go right to you. You could also schedule an office tour and come in for the physical kit. We'll be right back. And we're back. And we're back. And we should be done playing air guitar now.
Right on. All right. Righto.
No more air triangles. No more air guitars. Time to work, boys. Time to work.
That's exactly right. Now, we're talking on this show, this show.
This is Bragg Radio, by the way.
Right. Be rich and generous. We teach you how to make money in real estate, then go out and be most generous and help others. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that, and we have a lot of things going on as well. We're talking on this show about questions to ask an agent before hiring them, okay? And we've talked about how long have you been in business. It's okay if you're brand new.
We've been through a lot of them.
Yeah. Do you work with investors? Do you invest yourself? How many deals do you close a month? Do you have a team? Do you work with buyers? Do you work with sellers? What type of properties do you work with? There's a lot of them. But, one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I wanted to mention is I've talked about a lot of questions to ask an agent, but I've also talked about it from the perspective of buying a property from them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
From them being a buyer's agent versus listing a property with them.
With a seller or a seller's agent. Right.
Exactly. So I know there's some fix and flip investors out there that you're buying a property, you're going to fix it up, and then you're going to flip it. And you may need an agent to list that property for you, okay?
Right.
So you can ask all those same questions, right? You can ask all those same questions as well that we talked about in the last few segments. But I think one of the biggest ones you could ask if you're actually going to list a property is, what is your marketing plan for my house?
Oh, that's
right?
a good one.
What is your marketing plan for my house? Everybody said, well, we're going to put it on Realtor.com. We're going to put it on Zillow.com. Listen, it automatically goes on Zillow, okay? Zillow picks up the data feed, okay? It automatically goes on Zillow.
So don't buy that one.
Yeah. So I want to know, are you going to hold open houses? Are you going to run any ads? Am I going to be in the Home and Land magazine, Home Guide magazine? Am I going to be in the newspaper? My property, all this different stuff. Are you going to direct mail your sellers? Do you have a list of, buyers? Do you have a list of buyers in this price range? Is this the price range of a property that you actually, sell in a lot? Right.
Right.
So, I want to know their marketing. I want to know, what are they going to do, right? Are they going to run ads on Realtor.com? Are they going to run ads on Zillow?
Now, do you think that this is going to be a realtor who has worked in the industry for a long time? I don't see a new agent having all of these different avenues or ways to market a property set up.
And that's true.
Now, they could be part of a team, but
yeah,
independently, I don't see a newer agent to the industry having all of these things in place for a seller.
Right. And that's true. If you're a brand new agent, and we talked about, I believe it was in the first segment.
It was in one of them.
That even if you're a brand new agent, that's not a bad thing.
No, definitely not.
I like working with brand new agents. In fact, what I would rather do is find a motivated, individual, and I don't care. And I started to say young, motivated, aggressive, but I don't care, young or old. We've hired people that have worked with us that have been in their 60s and 70s, right? I don't really care about the age. What I care about is the person,
right,
the motivation, the attitude. And I've worked with people before, and I've said, man, I want you to be my agent. Well, I'm not licensed. That's okay. I'll pay you to go get licensed.
Right.
Go get licensed. It doesn't make any difference. Right? So, you hire the person, not the paper. Right? You hire the person.
That's typically our motto.
Yeah. Seriously.
We look at the paper, though.
Yeah. If they got a resume, we're going to check it out. Right?
Right.
We'll call references.
That's right.
And, but anyway, yeah, I've even had people go get licensed. we got people in our office right now that are in the process of getting licensed.
Yeah,
right?
2 of them.
Yeah, so they're in the process of getting licensed. They were the right people, but we're just getting them licensed because they're the right people. That's who we want to work with. So another thing that a question that you should ask, especially if you are going to list your property with an agent, is tell me a few things that separate you from your competition. Right? How do you like that question?
That's powerful.
That's powerful, right? See, a good agent, they're not going to hesitate to answer this question, right? And they'll be ready to fire off. Well, I do this, I do this, I do this, and I've sold X number of houses. A good agent is a great salesperson,
That's
okay?
right. Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people think, in fact, we were talking about this in the office last week. The guy was talking about, in the office was talking about the real estate class. Well, I'm not really learning a lot from the instructor, and I'm going through the motions. I'm going to have to study some on my own. Well, I basically spoke up and I said, listen, the stuff you learn in class to pass the test has absolutely nothing to do with the day-to-day business.
That's right.
Right? It's all rules and regs and licensing and making sure you stay in compliance and all that stuff is good stuff.
You got to
right?
know it and you got to abide by it.
Right. That's absolutely true. But it's not going to help you close a deal.
Has nothing to do with selling.
Has absolutely nothing to do with buying a house for someone or selling a house for someone.
So guess what we have them doing now?
Yeah.
Going through sales training.
There you go. Every morning, our guys go through sales training. Every morning, they spend about 30 minutes to an hour.
That's knocking down those obstacles.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And, this is a whole nother show, but people do want to feel like they're getting good at something, like they're mastering
that's
something,
right.
Autonomy, mastery, and purpose, right? So,
Back to a few things that separate them, though, from the competition,
Yeah. What separates them from their competition? What are they going to do different than the competition? Why should I pick you over the other 11 agents
that are trying to sell my house? Yeah.
Right. That would love to have this listing.
Right.
Right. And also, tell me some ways. How about this? Tell me some ways that I can increase my bottom line, right? That I can increase my bottom line and sell my house faster. What are some things I could do? Like, for example, a good agent is going to tell you, okay, you need to offer buyer incentives, right? I'm going to pay the buyer's closing cost. I'm going to offer to buy down their rate. I might even carry a small second mortgage, right? All those are things that a good agent would tell you to do to help your house sell faster. The only thing that most of them know how to do is a price reduction, right? That's not going to help you. Personally, I'd rather keep the price up and offer to buy down the buyer's rate, right, which would lower their payment, which will qualify them for a bigger house, right? And to offer to pay their closing cost, right? Offer to pay their closing costs. Even offer to carry a small second. Let's say you got a buyer that can only afford or can only qualify for an 80% loan and they only have 10% to put down, right? They have 10% to put down and they're 10% short. What if you carried a 10% second, they put 10% down and they got an 80% loan, right? Now you sold your house to somebody that could only qualify for 80% and only had 10% to put down, right? So the last question that I want to talk about that you should talk to a realtor about or ask an agent is, how do you like to communicate best, right? How do you like to communicate? I like to communicate with them by email and by text, right? So if they say, oh, well, you have to call my office and talk to my secretary and they'll get a message to me and I'll call you back. I don't like that at all, right?
Right.
I want to be able to talk to him. I want to be able to talk to him right away.
He's a
right?
diva.
No, seriously.
I'm just kidding.
Let me tell you something.
I don't think that's diva-ish at all for you to want to be able to talk to the person in charge of what's going on.
Well, listen, a few years ago we had an agent that was the absolute top agent in the Keller Williams office.
Right.
That they were in. And there was over 100 agents in the Keller Williams office. They were number one for volume. And guess what? We were their only client. It was all ours. We were their only client.
Exactly.
Right? Their only client. So, guys, get a copy of the book, Getting Started in Real Estate Day Trading. Follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/Larry H. Goins for updates on shows and all that good stuff. And Kandas is going to tell you how to get it.
I'll tell you how to get the books with the Investors Kit. You can call 877-LARRY-GO, 877-LARRY-GO to get the latest books, HUD Homes Half Off and Real Estate Day Trading. And or you could text the word BRAG to 803-897-6063. We'll get the Digital Investors Kit out to your email. We can schedule an office tour for you to pick up the physical kit if that's what you would prefer. But when you give me a call, let's talk about some other stuff too. Our registering for one of our 3-day events that's coming up, finding out more information about those, any of our mentoring options or additional trainings, anything like that. 877-LARRY-GO or send me an email to info@bragradio.com.
Thank you, Kandas. Make sure to tune in every Saturday for Bragg Radio, leading the world to be rich and generous. Larry and Kandas will show you how to invest in real estate and the many ways real estate creates the ideal investment. It's Bragg Radio, be rich and generous on News Talk 1110, 99.3 WBT.